Okay, I think we're good. So yeah, hey folks, it has, as it so likely will often be, it's been a while. Um, I'm looking into Unreal Engine, something I've played with a little bit yesterday, so this is a bit of a cheat, but otherwise haven't really touched. So I just want to go through today, make a quick demo project and play with a few things and just sort of see what we can accomplish with it. I have a few small goals that we'll go for. So first things first, we need to actually give it a launchy. And at some point here, it'll probably ask... Oh! I guess it closes the launcher. It'll ask if we want to pick a folder and all that jazz. And we do, so it's just a matter of waiting. Okay, so, it lets you pick a particular style. We're going to go with games. And we're going to pick the third person, because that's the one I've played with the most so far. And we'll just call this the demo project, or no, learning project. And everything else we're just going to keep like this. I don't see much reason to change any of that, because I don't really... I'm going to use blueprints. I come from a C# background. I can read C++, apparently, from what I've seen. But might as well just do blueprints for now. Plus, it's more visually interesting. So now we just wait for that to initialize. And I think that I included the starter content. I did. Okay, cool. So let me get this over here so you can actually see it. Because I imagine that would be ideal, being able to actually see what somebody's doing. So we've got our scene. Obviously, when you start it, bim, bam, boom. Feels like you're already done, right? Like, it's got the lighting, it's got a character model, it's got a world to play in. Tells you what it is in case you forget what it is, I guess. But it's third person. First thing we're going to do, I think, is we're going to try and add some goals. Like, what we want to accomplish. So we glance at this thing and we see that this... Whoops, did we get the right thing? I don't think we did. There we go. So we're looking at this text render actor. So if we look over here and we see text render, we're going to do that. We're going to grab that, drag it in here. And what is it, F? Yeah, so we're doing F to focus in on it. Some of this is going to be very similar to Unity. And we're going to change the text. Let's get down here. Where's the text field? Goals. As we can see, it is currently pointing the wrong direction. So I'm going to hit spacebar and turn that 180. And yes, that looks good. There's probably a gizmo button around here somewhere that I can turn off. And we'll find it later. Basically, being able to turn off that A. I don't need to know that this is a text field. I can see. I'm not blind. Localization. Can we do new line? Oh, we can. Okay. So step number 1, we just want to demo blueprints. Step 2, we're going to instantiate something. Probably a projectile. And then step 3, we will fire that projectile. And step 4, we will have it have projectile destroy on impact. I think that'll be it. So hit enter. Now we got those goals set up. And we could do it, I believe, we could do this a few ways in terms of scaling the font. You could literally make the font size larger, which is likely somewhere down here. Actually, it's probably on the actual text component itself. Excuse me. I'm just glancing around, but that'll work. Maybe make that a little bit smaller. And it's not actually flush with the wall. What was that? End? End is for getting it flush with the bottom wall. That's less helpful. Now my question is, what if we are currently holding this and we hit end? Nope, still the bottom. Okay. Well, we'll figure that out. Bring it forward until it's actually visible. And then if we hit play, we see that we have our goals up on the wall, and that's nice. So that's progress already. Move that up, and we'll move it over to the side, because it feels just like that's where it would be, you know? Kind of right aligned, or left aligned. Yeah, directions, they're hard, what can I say? We don't really need this text anymore. We know what this is. Interesting. Some kind of document billboard. Maybe they're just showing that it animates. Because we don't think I can interact with it. No, it doesn't look like it, but that's fine. All right, so next we're going to do a demonstration of the blueprints as best as I understand them from watching like 2 videos and playing with it for a little bit. Nothing super, super intense. So we're going to open the blueprint editor. And it looks like, from my understanding at this point, dismiss please. It looks like, from what I see, blueprints are basically like the prefab window for the object. So you have the object itself here, and this is like, the camera's childed to it so that when it rotates, the camera's always pointing in the direction the character is looking. You can also override that with the mouse controls, which they've done, and you'll actually see some of that in a moment here. And then this is the actual blueprint section. So we can see that they have very handily given instructions on what each section is for. So like this is the movement input. They do a few things I don't really like, but I can get used to, where they use like aviation terminology for the vectors and stuff, and you get used to that, I'm sure. We can see, I think if we do simulate, it'll let us, let's see. Can we simulate it from here? We might not be able to. But if I hit play and then click in this window, it's actually down there. Hold on, let me crawl down here. So watch this section. So when I jump, you can actually see when the things are activating. Those white lines are I think they call them the execution set. Yeah, the execution arrows. And those tell the next section to do something. So like this one, when you press or touch the screen, that would cause this jump action to happen. And then we have this additional section here. These branches, I would probably call them gates, but branch is fine, I suppose. I'm sure maybe that's what C++ calls gates. But you basically have this conditional where it's checking a finger index. It's checking whether it's true. In this case, I'm guessing this is the conditional if it's being touched, and this is the conditional when it's being released. It's actually a bit weird to me that oh yeah, so that's a Boolean output. So you've got the true conditional and the false conditional. And then from there, this branch is saying if it's true, then trigger this. And then if this is true, trigger this. So they stay separate. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to grab a piece of information from the character controller, which is can jump. And so we're going to take that and put that over here. And so now we have this value, which is, it's set in the character script that just comes with the model itself. And basically when you touch the ground after a jump, it will set this to true. And if you're in the air, it sets it to false. And so now we can say, let's see, is true or is it equals? So, whoops, equals keys pressed. That's not what we wanted. We are looking for, it wouldn't be a branch at this point, would it? It might be. Yeah, okay, so can jump comes through the branch. Whoops. Comes through the branch. And also you can see here we have this execution, which is not happening from can jump. What we need to grab is this. We could also just type it in. So if we don't want to do it that way, we can say input action, and we come and we look for jump. We look for the input action for jumping. Event on. Oh, that's cute. When he has started jumping, can jump. Yeah, there we go. Okay, just had a weirder name than I was expecting. So we're going to say when the jump is pressed, if you can jump, we're going to have something executed here. And the thing to remember is why we're doing that is when you're in the air, you could hit spacebar again, and then you would just trigger what we're about to do again. So that's not ideal. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say print. We want to do a debug log, basically. And so if this is true, it's going to debug a message. Now we're going to test this real quick, and then we're going to add to it, because obviously having it say just like, you know, yeah, every time it happens, not as useful. So when we jump in the top left corner there, you can up and about thereabouts. You see that blue text, kind of small? It says yeah. It goes away after 2 seconds. That's what we're interacting with. That's this section here, print to screen. There's also a print to console log. I actually like the print to screen better because you can see things while you're working. And so now we need to actually make the message. So we're going to actually create a variable, which is right here. And that new variable is going to be called, let's say int. I know the standard practice is to put what type of variable it is in there, but you know what? My video, so I'm gonna do what I want. Okay. So we come over and we are currently playing? We might be. No, we're not. So my one confusion is I can't actually change it over here, and I'm not sure why. What has happened? So we should be, oh, it's because simulation was running. Oh, my bad. Okay, there we go. Cool. So right now it's set as a Boolean. We actually want it to be an int. It's going to ask if we want to change things. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, right, I need to get rid of this. But now, well, actually I didn't need to get rid of it, but anyways. So we have get and set. First things first, whenever you jump, if you can jump, we actually want to set the value. So let's see here. What is the best order of operations? That's all fine. That's pretty much, it is what it is. And we need to do a float or int plus int, integer plus integer. And the second thing we're going to be adding is 1. And the first thing we're going to be adding is whatever the jump count is. So, oh, did I grab the wrong thing? Hold on. Int plus, there we go. Int plus int. So first thing we're actually, whoops, get rid of that. We're going to connect these two and 1. So each time this happens, it's going to increase this by 1. Now, again, what we're noticing is there's no actual connection here. So, what am I forgetting? Oh, no, that is just it. Okay. My bad. So we have the jump count gets added by 1, and then it's set here. And then from there, we're actually going to want to break this because we want it to set it, right? So we have it set it. And it comes down here. Now that's the complete order of operations for jumping. So what happens is when we jump, if we can, or when we click jump, if we can jump, then we will call this set. Set will then pull through jump and 1. So if it's a 0, it'll make it 1. If it's a 1, it'll make it 2, and so on. And next, we need to update this print to screen so that it actually shows us what we're doing. So now, initially, what you could do is you could just say get jump count and connect to here. And now it automatically creates the, what would you call this? It automatically creates the cast. So we have that cast there. So it's taking an integer, turning it into a string, and pumping it through here. So now, if we hit play and we jump, we see 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And even though I'm spamming the spacebar in the air, it doesn't just keep counting up, which is ideal. That's exactly the outcome we want. But that's not a super helpful debug log just to see a number. So what we're going to do is something that I would call concatenation in Unity, but apparently here it's just called appending, which I suspect. Oh yeah, and I guess in the description on it, let me move my window so I can actually see my own stream. When we go to append, it actually does say concatenates 2 strings together to make a new string. So it's probably just me not thinking. That's fine. All right, so we have this value that's being turned into a string. We're going to pump that through the middle and add a new one, and then we're going to say I have jumped with the space. That'll be the number. Times. Now, if you wanted, because this is actually going to have one small mistake, we can fix this, and we're going to move that string into there. So you can fix this, right? We can, and I'll show you what I mean, because obviously you need context to know why I'm talking. It says, I have jumped 1 times. And obviously, whoops, we don't have the space either on the word times. It says, I have jumped 1 times. Now, obviously, that's not actually what the word would be. So if you really cared, you could do something like have a branch. And then you would, is this the getter or setter? These are setters. Or no, these are getters, aren't they? Well, let's pull it in and find out. Yeah, so we can probably use this. Oh, so this is a Boolean branch. Let's see. Equals is, let's see here. Let's look for some math. Math. Okay, so we've got floor, seal, round, truncate. So returns true if int point. What do you look like? You're a blue, so that's int point is obviously different than integer. Ah, there we go. Integer. Not equal for integer, and is there an equal for integer? There is. Ah, and that's the right color too. So now we'll connect this here, and we're going to say if this equals 1, we're going to attach it here. And then we're going to have a string, if I could type the word string. Append build string is empty equals mid. Select string to string. Well, let's play a little bit of an investigation here. Returns a substring, that's cool. Join string array, left equal, find. I don't really want to build a string, I just want to make one. I mean, I guess we could make string variables. Sure, that's a little... We'll do that. Might as well. Oh wait, is this not set? It's not set as a string. Okay. And we'll say time. So if it is equal to 1, that makes this true. And then we would pass that through here. Whoops. Pass that through here. And then if it is false, we would set that to here. Connect that to there. That should work. Oh. So they would actually need to be connected in some way. Interesting. Basically, what I was going to say is you could have one say times and the other one say time. I suppose what you could do is actually append to the Boolean. So we'll come back to that later. I'll think about it. But basically, one time while you're jumping, it would have the wrong verbiage here. So we'll go back, we'll hit play. All right, so I would say that we have demoed blueprints. Obviously, I need to look in more for synergies, how things work. Same thing though with any language or tool that you're utilizing. You have to figure out various nuances for it. So we've got that. We're also going to add a comment. So we'll just say, I wonder actually if we highlight all these. Oh, it worked. Awesome. So now we've got a comment around this, and it also means that we can move the whole thing at once, it looks like. Oh, that is lovely. Okay. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to be able to create something. Don't know what yet, but we want to be able to create something. And I'm going to guess, we'll go over here and we'll look at the basics. We've got a sphere and a cylinder. Cylinder's kind of fun. So we'll bring in a cylinder. We're going to scale it a little bit. 1, 2, 3. Maybe make it a little bit shorter. And we're probably going to rotate it 90 degrees. So now... Alright. Next on this cylinder, we're going to call it projectile. And what folder did that end up in? Nothing. So let's also create a folder. And projectiles. That's fine. Now where did our little buddy go? Oh, it's already in it. How convenient. Let's see. Also, we could go look at materials, which we can choose a path. Filters. Okay. So we're going to look through the materials they have and see what kind of fun effect we could put on this. Ooh. Now we've got a gold projectile. Awesome. All right. So now it's got a look to it. So what comes next, as they say? We're going to want to add a blueprint to it. So we'll make sure that we are on our little buddy here. Add a new blueprint. We're going to say... Replace the selected actors with a... Sorry, I'm reading, which is not something I'm used to doing while working. New subclass or child actors. Let's see. New subclass versus child actors. Now this is the dirty secret of development, is everyone that you'll ever meet Googles 99% of the time while they're working. The degrees and stuff they get is just to help them know what to Google rather than to help them avoid Googling in the first place. So it says... Most of the time, you should use actor components. Already done that. Child actor components are if you want multiple components together, or possibly use the viewport attached to an actor. So you should stay away from child actor components when possible. They are slow and clumsy to use, and that's fine. So I guess we'll just go with the subclass. See how that works out. Okay, well, we see our projectile. We come over to the event script. Now, this construction script happens on start. And then there's another one that's... What's this filed under, I wonder? Does it happen to tell you? State, perhaps? Slate brush services. I guess we could look it up. Construction. Oh, am I in the wrong section? Yeah, here's where I meant to be, actually. The event graph is... So you got begin play, you've got... event tick, this is the on update. And then... What's this one do? Ah! Ooh! That may be really useful for the actual destruction part. This is when they overlap, huh? Does our cylinder actually have a collider on it already? Let's see. Collision, it does. Interesting. Okay. Oh yeah, if you see this red message, that's just, you just have to hit build, and that'll fix like the shadows and stuff, but I'm just ignoring that for now. Can characters step up onto this component? Ah, okay. We'll have to play with that in a little bit. Well, let's see. Generates overlap event, right? And then we'll go back into here. And then we'll do a print. Print string iTouchy. And then we'll attach this. And now these will actually happen. Maybe. I don't actually know. I've never tried this before. No, doesn't look like it did. So. Generate collision. Can player step up? Generate overlap. Does that make it fall if I turn on simulate? No. Okay, so... And this is definitely attached. I say that as in... let me confirm real quick. So we're going to on begin... I enabled... Okay, so it does actually... It is attached and working properly. What a classic song. Alright, so... It does have a collider. It does have physics, which if you were to turn on simulate, then it would probably fall. Yeah. Okay. Cool, so that works. Well, let's look for a key. Well, not a key, actually. What am I thinking? Again, quick Google. Because this does say, when this overlaps with another actor... And I don't think that what they mean is when they're literally overlapping. Like if this is inside of my character. No. I didn't think so, but it's important to double check your work and make sure that you're not assuming something. Auto weld. Oh, that's cool. Collision. So it does have collision on it. Blah, blah, blah. After setting collision. We don't have a physics material attached to it, but that should only matter for bouncing and that sort of thing. And then... if we were to set this... I'm curious. Now, if we do that, I can just walk through it. Yeah, okay. So that makes sense. Generate overlap event. Collision presets. Ah, you can tell it who it can touch. That's really helpful. Rendering. Oh, navigation. That's cool. Okay, well, just for laughs, what do they actually call it? So targeting self. So we'll do get key. Input. Hey, what the hey? We'll just do jump for now, because I think I have to add them elsewhere. So if it is pressed, we return this value. Scale. Interesting. So that's a matrix. Set scale. Ah, here we go. press. And we'll say... I'm just curious if this works. Oh, we don't want 200. That's way too big. Okay, and we'll hit play. So we can see that the input action is not affecting this particular line. Which is very interesting because it works. I wouldn't imagine that this would do it. Oh, he's a big boy now. We are trapped within him. Okay. So this idea did work. But I'm not sure why it didn't work with jump. Input action jumped. What's this? Ah, interesting. So, keyboard. Oh, here we are. This is what I was looking for earlier. Let's go with M. Get rid of this. Pressed. Get rid of this. You can actually get rid of it by holding Alt and then tapping on them, but... So we go in here, we press M, and we're still not seeing it. So why? That's interesting. Why would we not? Because we got that. We are on the projectile blueprint. And we know that if we attach this to the update loop, it works. All right. As with everything, if you Google it, you are not the only person having the issue. Going to defaults on the blueprint. All right, let's check if input is disabled. Ah, is that it? Oh! All right, we figured it out. Okay, so it's not that we had input blocked, it's just that it wasn't set to any player. So if there were multiple players, oh, this makes total sense, because if you were controlling a particular, like let's imagine you had 3 people playing and they're all shooting these guns and like they can move the bullets with their controls or something, you wouldn't want anyone's input to register for that projectile. You'd want a specific player's to. Ah, okay. Well, wiggledy diggledy, we're getting there. So, let's see. I got a sine wave, I'm sure. Boop. Vector 1. Multiply. Ooh, multiply by pi. How exciting. This is a vector. Multiply vector to a float. Excuse me. And then put those there. And what the hey? Let's connect it like that. And we'll get rid of this guy. And I'm gonna move this out of the way. Oh, he's so tiny. Where did you go, my friend? Let's print that out. This is my favorite when you're just like screwing around with There we go. What kind of numbers are we looking at there? Oh. Sure, you can go like that. That's fine. Oh, those are very small numbers. Sign is between 0 and 1, I thought. Multiply. What were those numbers? So you would need to go up by like 100? Holy cow. Multiply, Oh, actually, can you add more than just 2 things? Let's move these all. I like to keep everything sort of clean as best I can. So we've got our vector 1 and our sign. Apply float. And we'll do that. Connect you here, connect you here. And we'll increase it by, let's start with 100 and see what happens. Woo! Yeah. That's some dubstep right there. Let's see. Now we could probably slow that down. Because right now it's happening with every tick. Yeah, because normally you would actually multiply when you were doing something, you would do it over time. And so I'll have to figure out how to do that here more clearly. Let's move this over. Okay, so go like that. And we can actually adjust these a little bit. Whoops. So that it's all much cleaner. This is giving me like deja vu of shader graph. Okay. So we'll probably get rid of this later or turn it off, but for now it's funny. So we'll leave it. And now we know how to do inputs to sorry, brain. We know how to do inputs so that we can do something like instantiating it. So we have this projectile, and we need to figure out what the equivalent of prefabs in Unreal is. Spawning actors, they say. Okay. Oh, which one of these tabs was it? This one. So if we go back into the blueprint, we're actually looking, we want to go to the character, and we're going to start a section down here. We'll say input or key. What key would we like it to be? Because spacebar is jump. Maybe E. I think E would be good because that's right next to your WASD. So we've got the E. So when E is pressed, we want it to do something. So we want it to spawn an actor. Now we need to choose something. And so we're going to look for our projectile. So far, so good. And we're going to connect these. Now, where is the transform of this going to be? We're going to get my transform, and we're going to add forward. Let's see. Do we have a vector forward? Ah, here we go. Vector forward, and we're gonna take vector forward and multiply vector times we'll go with float. So we take this and we're gonna multiply it by, let's say 2. So the idea is we want to put it like 2 units ahead of us, whatever that works out to. We'll find out shortly. And then we want to add that. So this is currently a vector. This is currently a transform. Get position. Yeah, get position. These changes. Target is skeletal mesh component. That. So I guess it would be get actor position. Actor. Get actor location. Returns the location of the root component of this actor. Oh, yeah, I see yellow. We're making it there, team. We're making it. Okay, so we'll get rid of that. And we're going to take these 2 values, and we're going to add vector plus vector. So we're going to take these 2 values, and we're going to add this top one and this bottom one. And that should give us the position that we want this thing to spawn on. Ooh, nope, that's not exactly right. Or maybe it is. You know what? Let's find out. Huh, actually. That is. Hey! Now you'll notice... Oh, that's cool. You'll notice that my little dubstep buckets are pointing the wrong direction. Their rotation is currently up. Which tells me that their transform data is not set as... How would I describe this? It's not their default value. So if we go down into content, let's create a folder. We'll call it spawnables. We'll drop this in there. And I can't see it anymore. There it is. So if we grab this and drag it over, yeah, it doesn't actually do anything. But we can always fix the rotation, right? So and this returns the object. Ah. I say but maybe what somebody just told me is not true. Let's find out. Oh, that's cute. Okay. So we already have this. So that's fine. Now we should probably turn off this dubstep cannon. Okay, so what we're learning here is that 2 is not far enough out. So we're actually going to adjust that. Let's adjust it to 5. Still not enough. But we're going to make sure we're actually doing this right by making it 50. Wow, so 50 was just barely enough. And you'll notice it's going forward in world position, not local position. So we would actually need to get the forward position of the actor. Ah, and that is actually a thing. It's literally called get actor forward vector. What a time to be alive. Okay, so we're going to now try this. That time it spawns that way. Now it spawns that way. Now it spawns that way. Ooh boy, this is more fun than it should be, I think. Or maybe it's a good thing that it's just fun, period. Okay. Now we have our get actor forward. We're multiplying it by 50, which really does not move it as far as I thought it would. So I'm going to have to read up on that, but it does work. And we are adding that forward vector to the actor's location so that we're putting this thing in front of it. Now we could actor rotate, set actor rotation. So we'll pass through this, and the new rotation, -90 for Y. And now we're going to hit play. Huh? Did it work? No, it didn't, but it is triggering. Mobility, static mesh object has to be movable if you'd like it to move. Oh, I thought he was set to movable. Yeah, they both are. Okay. Sure thing, Hoss. All right. So what we're learning here is that this is not working the way I would have expected it to. And when we do it, we do get a error message, which you can't see yet, but when we bring it over here, it says that the static mesh component has to be set to movable if you'd like it to move. And so when we go and look at this projectile, we'll go into its blueprint and check its static mesh. Ah! Oh, you know what? Where's the defaults for this thing? Scale, transform. Is rotation hiding anywhere? Ooh, and there's all these events too. Okay, so now it's set to movable. So let's try our code again. Also, we'll compile first because otherwise it's gonna be really mad at me. Hey! It's a rotating. And we can jump on them. Woohoo! Alright. Cool beans. So let's go back to our work here. And do a little bit of cleanup. Just a little. This is kind of like... Oh my goodness. You know what's so amazing about this? I can't name functions right now because I'm doing all the stuff that's built in. And so I can't get hung up on the name of stuff. How wonderful. All right. So we spawn it, we rotate it. I could probably figure out how to make it rotated by default. I'm not sure how yet, but you know, again, we could probably find this. That's how you set it. Import settings. Import settings. Where are these? Import? Oh, of course, they're not there. Yay. How about here? Oh, I saw import somewhere. No, that's input. My heart got so excited that it changed the word in my brain. double click the mesh in the content browser. Oh, double click the mesh in the content browser. It's none of these either. Okay, so hold on. You can just open the blueprint editor and rotate the mesh there, and it should be rotated the same when you place it in your map. So if we go to the blueprint and then the view section, click on it. Now if we are to rotate it here, let's see, how doth we rotate? So we can see it, but it doesn't look holy. No? Whoa, holy free holies. Okay. So we've got our mighty lad here upright. But we don't want that. We want to be able to turn it. And I swear I've done this before. So we'll stop. Nothing looks to be locked. This is unlocked. Editable when inherited is true. Start with tick enabled. A lot of damping. It is compiled. Can't edit mesh in Blueprint. Very peculiar. I'm sure it's something obvious. Like a button I'm forgetting to hold, something like that, you know? But that doesn't make it any less surprising. Oh well, we'll leave it as rotating via this for now. Because yeah, if we go into this viewport editor, you see how he's got his transform editor? Fascinating. But this one doesn't. Quick settings, show transform widget. Hold on. Quick settings. Camera speed. Oh yeah, can we turn that down a little bit? Because holy cow, was my camera moving fast. Oh, so much better. Oh, half speed is the way to be. Perspective, lit, that's fine. Show floor is fine, show grid is fine, real time is fine. Top menu, quick settings. See, the problem is when somebody says, hey, here's where you fix the thing, and the thing is not there. Viewport settings, viewport show, use defaults. Viewport. Let's see here. Viewport. Yeah, you know, I'll have to figure it out later. But it's not going to stop our progress, so that's fine. The next thing we need to do is we need to go into the event graph for our bullet, or our projectile, however you want to think about it. And we need to, we'll get rid of, well, no, we'll just move it out of the way. I appreciate dubstep cannon too much. But we need to go down to Let's at least snap this off. We bring back our event tick. And what we want to say is every frame move forward a little bit. So we've got to do vector forward. Get actors forward vector. This might, because the actor is rotated, this might send it straight down. But let's find out, you know? That's part of the fun. And then add vector. We could actually probably do some kind of multiplication thing, but we'll just do an add. So we'll take their forward vector, set actor vector, set position, actor position, set actor location. Sure, works for me. And then we've got forward, and we're going to add to that vector 1. And we will multiply vector by a float. And we'll make that float like, I don't know, 2 for now, because we don't know. Then we'll connect these two. And you know what? Let's give it the old go. Okay, first thing I'm noticing is boy howdy, did those bullets just go, as they say. Let's do 0.1. See if we can actually... And the bullets are still spawning. Let's double check that. Oh, yep, no, okay, so they are still spawning. Cool, okay. So it's something to do with our math here. And the fact that, again, event tick is quite fast. Unreal. So we're going to look up movement over time for Unreal. And see what we're missing. Lerpy lerp, huh? Okay, so they're taking some point data, lerping it. Oh, interesting. They're using the alpha of timeline? Wow, that's some weird... Is that better? So they used this. Oh, weird. Theirs actually looks different than mine. Update finish direction alpha. Update finish direction. I don't have an alpha. Well, that's rude. Huh. Well, if we times this by 0, then this shouldn't move at all. But it still does. Okay. Oh, because the forward... Oh. Oh, we need... Okay, so we actually need to break this. Have this go through here. This go through... Ugh. This go through here. And then into there. And then now, if we do 0.1... It's still too fast, but it should be better. So now if we do it times 0... Oh, huh. Well, let's print that out real quick. Print string. Connect you here. Now, what's that saying? Oh, you actually have to... You have to actually execute it to see it. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So 0's forever, which is exactly what we would expect. So where is 0, 0, 0? Ah, that would be in the ground. Okay. So that's why we don't see the bullets anymore. They're going into the ground. All right, so that's progress. So then if we wanted them to move forward, what does this get us? It doesn't actually, as we can see here, it's not actually moving it anywhere. It's just putting it at 1, 1, 0, which then again, if we type that in, 1, 1, 0, we find that puts us in the ground. Okay, so now we're making progress. So the actor's forward vector plus 1 is for some reason not updating. So that's the fascinating thing, is each time we get the actors... Oh, we need to actually take the position though. Get actor position. Okay, so we actually need to take the actor's location and then add the forward vector to that. In that, we actually see it moving along the z-axis. And so if we do that, we see the z moves it upwards. So then if we do 0.01, that should cause it to move... I would have said slowly, but it looks like it gets stuck then. If it's at 1, it does increase. Oh, yep, and we can see it actually moving down. So, forward vector. Connect that here. Hey, we made bullets that actually move. Except they collide with me, which we need to fix. Okay, so let's go into the collision for them, and we'll fix the speed and stuff in a moment here. Not a big deal. So we need to go into the blueprint, static mesh, and go down to where it decides who it's going to hit. Currently, its collision preset is everyone, but we want it to not touch the player. So let's see here. Visibility is good. Collision response is fine. What is the player listed as? Let's see. Player is listed as... pawn object that is used for character mesh. Okay, well, again, we do what we do, which is, we go in and we find out how to make two physics bodies not collide with one another. So in Unreal, apparently, they are called collision channels, it sounds like. So sphere and the wall. Excuse me. So physics, blah, blah, blah. Skeletal mesh. So my thing is the character mesh, object type pawn. So if we let them overlap here, does that mean that we can walk through them? It does. The camera cannot, however. That's a little bit of a problem. Let's go into the camera. All right, so the camera, we are going to go into its collision. Cooking, physics, camera boom. Well, again. So we just need to look it up. So collision filtering, I get it so far. I just need to figure out for the camera how. Oh, and by the way, here's that stuff I was talking about. So it's using the rotation of the player, or pawn, I guess, to inherit all of its like rotational data and stuff so that it always follows the player, which is pretty great. So this is our camera, and that's the camera mesh. Now we've got physics. There's no real information there. Oh, neat. That's a really pretty view for that. Like character model look at. But not what we needed. All right, so no reason I would expect any of it to be there. Fascinating. People are explaining how to add the settings. So to add to your project itself, they've explained how to add new ones, new types. But what I haven't found yet is where you set it for the camera itself. Oh, I'm thinking backwards. That's what's happening here. Okay, so what we actually need to do is go into the projectile and check its settings and see where it says camera. We'll have it ignore the camera. Ah. Okay, so I was just backwards. Hey. Now we got all our bullets moving. Woo! Okay. So now that we have the bullets moving, we need to make a few adjustments to them. The first is we should probably create a variable projectile speed. And we need to multiply that. We'll put that here. And do that. And when we compile, we have the default value. And let's just set it to 5 real quick and see what that looks like. Whoa! Huh. Apparently it looks quite large. Okay. So we can't do that. We would want to clamp it. Because if we're multiplying it, like, let's say we're multiplying it by 2, then the next time would be times 4, and so on. So we want the speed to... The vector, yes, okay. So we actually want to multiply the forward vector by the projectile speed. And then add those numbers. Okay. So... do this. Do that. And... do that. Okay. Grab our projectile speed. Get it. Connect it. I'm sorry, you can't even see what I'm doing. So what we're doing is we have the forward vector. This is how... this is how far forward it's going to go each frame is this connection, and then we're adding that value to the current position, and then we pass it through to the set, which is there we go. Okay, so now when we hit play, it should hopefully not nearly kill the game. All right, now we can see our bullets move faster, but obviously when they hit the wall, they just go right through it. So we want to adjust that. The walls... What collision data do the walls have? Let's see. So the walls go to the static mesh. Collisions. Preset is default. So we would probably want to add... We may want to add a new thing to it. So we'll leave it as default for now. What we need to do is get this working so that when the actor overlaps with something, it actually prints. So, like most things, we want to know why this isn't triggering. Ah, okay. So, if we go here and we hit custom, we want it to... It doesn't overlap. So that's the thing. We don't have them both set to overlapping. So what we need to do is we need to go into project settings. We'll find the physics section. And somewhere in here, let's see, channel. Is it just the engine collisions? Let's see. Platforms, plugins. Ah, here we go. All of our presets. So we look them over real quick. So for the bullet, we'd actually probably want the bullet to overlap everything. So we'll go down to its... we'll go back into its blueprint, rather. Static mesh. And we'll just set it to overlap all. And then we'll see if this triggers. We probably should get rid of that other debug for now. And it's done. So it still didn't print. Now let's see what we can do about that. End overlap event hit. Interesting. What about you? What do you do? Stone cold nothing. Okay. But that may be because we've affected the... Okay, let's got that one. We're just kind of checking through the different physics options that we have. Generates overlap event. Ah, okay, so it happens when it touches the player. Now, which one of these is the one that's triggering? I actually don't see it in the prompt window. Okay, so it is overlap. So we've got overlap working, but it doesn't work when it touches the walls. And so the walls are currently set to... What are they set to? Does that work? Is that all it's missing? Yes. So if we shoot the bullet and it hits the wall, okay, so there we go. So now it's triggering this event. So what we need to do is find out if we've got a destroy function, which I believe we do. So if we fire... but the bullets are touching me right now. So we actually need them... Ooh, we've got a null reference. So we'll fix that in a moment too. And we should probably update this because we've actually got 3 of our 4 goals done. Woo! How exciting. All right. We'll dismiss that. So what we need to do is we need to go to the projectile. And we need to tell the projectile that we don't want it colliding with the pawn, the player. Because you don't want to shoot yourself, right? Oh, it's no longer... Oh, right. Okay, so we actually need to go to the movement script and get actor forward. We'll just disconnect these real quick because I have a feeling this is not going to quite work. I have a feeling it's going to go straight down. And if that's the case, we'll just need to work that out. Yeah, so it's going straight down. And now the reason for that is because we physically rotated it. So what we can do, although they aren't making it easy on us because basically we can take that projectile and we can child it, theoretically, to another object so that it's where can I easily put you? Right here works. Okay. So if we take that projectile and then we zero it out, and then we actually rotate the actor itself instead. And we need to also disable the visible... Okay, so that actually didn't work. Ooh, fascinating. Well, we'll Control Z a few times, because if that didn't work... Get rid of that. What if we reset this? Does it still go straight down? No, if we... Oh, yeah. The ones that we're shooting go straight down. Oh, because we rotate them 90 degrees when we do that. Okay, so we go look at our dude. And so we actually need the forward vector of the player. Get player pawn. Get object transform. Get actor transform. Get actor forward vector. Okay, so I'll show you what I'm doing in a moment here. So instead of trying to get forward from the bullet, we will grab the player's body, grab its forward vector, and then return that. Oh, we need to just set that value on instantiate, otherwise it travels in the direction that he's looking. Whoops. Okay. That's easy enough. So when we need to create a vector variable. So vector direction. And we want to set direction. And we're going to set direction whenever begin play happens. So begin play, so it'll be... yeah, okay. So we will set it, and the setting value will be this. And we are setting direction there. So on start, we'll set direction. And then we will get rid of that. Whoops. And then from here, we will get direction and pass that through here. Okay. Cool. And then we just need the bullet to point in the direction that it is going. So let's do a little bit of cleanup here. Grab all this, and we will say comment get player look direction. Delete this because we don't need it anymore. So now we've got, this is the get player look direction code. And then this currently is just our simple destroy code. Nothing fancy there. And then this is our movement logic. All right, so now we've got nice and lined up. We have our look direction. So this is set when the object is instantiated or created, however you want to think about it. This is what happens when it overlaps. Then it will be destroyed. Very simple. You could do more with that, obviously, and I probably will once I play around a bit more. And then this is our movement logic, which again, I'm gonna organize a little bit here, and then we'll talk about it, and then we'll move on. See if there's anything else we would like to do before we come to a rest here. We don't need this anymore. Okay. So what happens here, let me shrink this down a little bit, is every frame we tell the bullet to update its location, and that location is updated to the object itself, where it is now, plus the direction that the player was looking when it was fired, times its speed. So that makes this makes a normalized, not normalized, but this gives you a direction vector to add to your current vector, and then it updates itself over here. So cool beans. Now, we've technically, I think, done everything we wanted to do. so now let's add one more. Now we've got another one, and let's fix our text so that it's nice and organized. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to write the rotational logic, which should determine how it's twisted while it's moving. So the first thing we need to do is we need to actually go into the code for the player and get rid of the rotational code that's done there so that we can handle it ourselves. And so we're going to say look at rotation, and the start location would be the get player pawn. How do we do that up here? Right. Get rotation. Yeah. Get actor forward vector. And then get player pawn. So we'll connect those. So this is our starting. Let me move these down a little bit because we're gonna maybe need some up space. So this is our starting point on the direction that it's looking. And so the target would be just in front of that, which would be actually kind of the positional code, I suppose, which is direction times something. So we may be able to actually come back into this movement logic and add what we're about to do there. And then set actor rotation. Ooh, there's a set actor location and rotation. Set actor location and rotation. So let's delete this one. Connect that there. Connect that there. Connect this here. And so it's not working, obviously. Less than ideal, but we'll figure out why. Target is self, which is correct. So the keen-eyed would notice that it is always... Is there a Control P? How do you pause play mode? Let's find out. Whoa! What? That's cool. Okay, apparently the F keys does cool stuff. Pause play mode. Tilde, it says. Oh. That doesn't look like that is the case. Left of the pound sign on a... So we could do it with frame skip button. What is the frame skip button? I mean, I guess I could put it in the code, but that seems... All right, so that's all working. Matter of fact, we could actually probably add a funny play sound at location. So let's add a little sound to our... I'm gonna want to do this, move these in this order because your boy doesn't want any no reference errors. So the sound it's gonna play will be, let's go with an explosion sound. And the location it's gonna play it at would be get actor location. Boom. Oh, that's probably loud. My apologies. Okay, so let's try that out real quick. Ooh, that was loud. Okay, so we should probably turn the volume down on that a little bit. Volume multiplier. Oh, interesting. It doesn't look like they're all being destroyed, perhaps. Yeah, are they only being destroyed this direction? Oh, interesting. Now, do they destroy if I shoot diagonal? Yes. What about if I shoot through this floor? No. Interesting. Is that because the floor is a different setting? Yes. Crank up the camera speed. Okay. What about now? All right. Cool. Okay, so this block isn't yet. Okay. All right. I wonder if there's a better sound. Let's see. Fire sparks. Yeah, that's not gonna work. We'll still go with it. We'll just turn it down. 0.1. Whoops. Oh, something fun we could do actually, while I'm here messing around, is random. We got a random Boolean. And so we could actually gate. We have this gate, right? Oh, or sorry, switch? Is that what it was? Let's see here. Branch. That's what it was. So we got this branch, right? And what we do is we'll stretch this out. Move this over, because that's always going to be true. But then we could either pick a sound at random, or we could go like this. And now what'll happen is it'll either play Explosion 1 or it'll play Explosion 2. And it'll pick them at random so that when you shoot a bunch of bullets, you hear... Yeah, a bit of variance. Cool. Okay, so that takes care of the destruction on impact. We fixed all that because we found our mistake there. Now we need to work on that rotational code and fix that, because then once that's fixed, we'll be off to the races, you know? So we could look at the third person character real quick. Let's also add a comment here. And obviously you wouldn't normally want to destroy things. You would want to pool them, but we're just, you know, we're working in a, not a tight time frame here, but just a linear one. Like a, or limited rather. It's all time really is linear for normal human experience. So we go and we look at the movement. And we don't actually see... Let's see, where does the actual character rotation happen? Oh, is Z all you have to do? Let's see here. Ah, okay. So the way they're doing it is they are taking the various... Get the rotation of the controller, often in the view rotation of this. So they're getting the rotation, breaking it apart, taking that Z... Interesting. But that's not... I wouldn't see that as... I wouldn't see that as rotating the transform, though. Ah, is this it? Add input to the control rotation if the is local play, target is pawn. So it might be this. Because this affects the pitch and the yaw, which are the Y and Z. And affecting Y. Okay. Oh my goodness, I keep missing. There you go. Fine, look at rotation. So it sounds like it's pretty close to what I was doing. So I suppose what we could try instead of this is get... This would not... Well, maybe it wouldn't work for multiple players. I'm not actually sure. Woo! That was crazy. So what they're doing here is this. But is that correct? Kinda. I mean, it is tilting it a little bit. Oh, that's funny. It's similar to our previous thing where it was now rotating based on an ever updating sequence. Make rotate. So we want to pass this through here. And what we're trying to do now yeah, that makes sense because you can't connect those. Plus float. And this would get us our tilted Y position. And then... So find lookout rotation. Actually... Get rotator. What was that in the player controller thing? Make rotator? Break rotator. Okay. Break rotate. So we have Y goes through here, and it goes through there, and it goes through there. Okay. Give it the old stretchy stretch. Move these over here. So this is the final value that we'll be passing through. Actually, sure. Let's see. Oh, interesting idea. What we could actually try doing instead is, let's just get rid of all this real quick. We could get velocity. So this gets the vector that it's moving along. And then so that gives us the direction it's moving. So this is the direction it's moving. These back in. But from there, getting the rotation is a bit complicated. My Google's just like, oh, you need help in Unity? It's like, no, not this time. Get actor location, find lookout rotation. Okay. Find look at rotation. So the place it's looking is where it's going. Get actor location. And this is where it's starting. So it's from where it starts to where it's looking, and then you pass that into here. And then we hit play. Okay, and then we just need to add break, rotate, add float, -90, make rotator, pass that through there, and then that there, that there. Is that what we're looking for? Why is it only... Oh! Oh, it looks like it's happening over time, very slowly. Okay. Because we are in the bullet itself. Whoops. Add vector. Doesn't actually look like it's working. Well, let's print string. As spammy as that is. Okay, so the rotation remains 0. That explains a lot. Ah, because we're not using physics to move it. Right, that makes sense. So we can't actually use that. We would want to store the previous position. It is a possibility. Although we do have direction. So it is slowly it adjusted the Y. Let that all clear out real quick. Or never. Interesting. I love that view. So cool. Okay. So, direction doesn't work because it's too small. And if we do this... So it says that it's rotating it 90 degrees, but it very clearly isn't. So why would that be the case? Let's do all three. Okay, no, that is definitely tilting it. Let's see here. I suppose the look at direction would be the opposite direction of the player position and... Let's see. Yeah, okay, so I think I've got it. And I'll explain in a moment here. Okay, so what we would want to do... Let's just get rid of all this again. We have two pieces of data that we know can get us the direction that we want to be facing. Excuse me. And the first one is player get position. Get actor location. So we will pass the player through, and this gets us their position, and then get actor location. This is our location. And so then set look at whoops. So if I may be getting this backwards, but it would be we are looking in the opposite direction of ourselves, I think. Why would that not work? This is interesting. So for one, the Y value kept changing, which I don't see why that would be the case, because it's the numbers for Y between me and them shouldn't change. And you'll notice that that bullet, this first one, doesn't actually change its rotation at all. Or does it? Ah, it's constantly looking at me. Okay. So that's what's going on. So we need to actually do that on... So we actually have... Make rotation... Interesting. Oh, we'll keep playing with this for a little bit and see what we can figure out. Because we actually have a directional vector from up here. So... Make rot from... Build a rotator given only a x-axis. Let's see what each of these does. Hey! There we go. So what I did, after a lot of finagling, is you pass direction through make rotation from Z, and then you're good as gold. Because Z is the rotational vector for the player. And since we're using the player's direction to determine where the bullet's going, that was a long journey, but we got there, and that's what matters. And now I know for the future. The bullets can hit each other, but part of that is I made them slower than me, which we should probably fix. Let's try 10. Yeah, there we go. They can still hit each other. Let's see. Did I give them a title? Or an object type? You know what? Let's try that real quick. And then that'll be the last thing we'll do. So we'll go into project settings. Engine. Physics? And then we'll look for our list of collision types. We found it before, so we should be able to find it again. That's how I like to think, at least. Maybe it was under collision? It was. Okay. New. We'll call this bullet. Or, no, we'll say projectile. Player projectile, for that matter. Object type. Probably destructible. At players spawn. And then it will ignore the camera. It'll ignore the player. And it'll overlap. Or it'll ignore itself. Oh, actually, we need a new object channel? Projectile. Is that what we actually need here? So now we come into here. Ah, yes. Okay. And then do we see it over here yet? We don't. But we could now make a new preset, and we'll call it player projectiles. We'll say that it has collision enabled. It'll be an object type projectile. We'll say this is all player projectiles. It'll ignore the camera. It'll ignore other... there we go. It'll ignore the camera. It'll ignore the player. It'll ignore its friends. And then we should be able to... Assuming that just saves. Did it? On... Yes, it's down here. Okay. And we close that. And we come over here. Just hit default. I don't see it over here. See physics actor. I also don't see it here. So maybe we need to build. No, you don't want to play that? Okay. Let's see. Interesting. Must have lost connection with my network. Because I cannot play any more music, as you can tell. Weird. And building appears to have locked up the engine. Wonder if they're related. Guess we'll give it a moment. No? Okay, well, we'll close this. Ah, here we go. Save selected. Interesting, so it was locked up, but it was not so locked up that it, would not let me save. So that's nice. Where are we? There we are. Okay. The black void. Let's see. Can we figure out why? It's all there. Open my project back up. Oh, okay, well. Yeah, I guess just closing and reopening it was enough. Okay, so back to where we were. Oh my goodness. I'm moving fast. Oh my goodness. Why is it moving so fast? Let's turn that down. There we go. Right, okay, so that's working. And we go back to the projectile itself. Collision. Oh, sorry. Static mesh is where we want to be. There it is. Player projectiles. Okay. Whoa! I accidentally think I just set the player to that. Oh, I set the floor to that. Whoops. Not my intent. There we go. Yeah, it happens. Okay, so now they're not colliding with the walls. So let's figure out why, and then we're good to go. Walls are set to overlap with... Yeah, the generate overlap event is set. And these are just under default. And when we look... Fascinating. Well, let's go look at our settings one more time. Sure. Settings, right. Collisions. Presets. Oh. Did it not save? How sneaky. So it would appear. I assume if I set this to overlap, it'll work. Yep. Interesting, but I don't see it anymore. Maybe I'm just not looking hard enough, but I don't see it on this list anymore. And we'll set it to projectile. Collisions enabled. Ignore the camera. Ignore the player. Ignore other things. And then overlap with, I presume, everything else. Duplicate name found, it says. Guess I'll have to look that up later. But regardless... Yeah. And while we're at it, let's add a little pizzazz. Well, first things first, we'll update this text body. Cool. Kind of like writing my goals out on the wall. It's a fun feeling. So we got our materials. Come back out. There we go. My filters weren't working either. I must have really bamboozled it. So let's, nice wood floor. Marble stairs, you know? Nice little wood square. And then for the walls... Oh, interesting. It was set to shuffle and it hit two different... Sure. Ooh. That is, quite the tiling. I'll definitely want to look that up later to figure out how to do, better tiling of textures, so that you could have like a more not stretched. Right now it's a one unit texture to the entire wall, and obviously that's less than ideal. Oh, it's because it's set to repeat single. Okay. Neat. Yeah, that was cute. Alright, so, yeah. We'll leave it at that. Maybe figure out some new goals, learn a few new things, and do another video down the road. I think this could be an interesting sort of side thing, is learning learning more about Unreal, because the more things you know, generally, especially in software development, the better. You know, you don't want to have a blind spot if you can help it. So yeah. Thanks for watching. If anyone ends up seeing this and has any questions, I probably can't answer them, but I'd love to try. And similarly, if you end up having any ideas for other things that I could explore, I would be interested in that. So yeah. Oh, what's this? Ooh, must be a gizmo. Anyways, y'all have a nice day.